So hi everyone, sorry for the snafu. So I'm Dallas Franklin. I'm the creative director for Neenah. And just a little bit about me. I've been with Neenah for 5 years and my background is I'm a designer. So for you designers out there, I'm going to be speaking to you today, designer to designer. I'm so excited to present our new Explore 7 promotion, Digital Solutions for Sustainable Retail. So every day at noon, my husband Sam goes down to the mailbox to get our mail. And I can't tell you how excited I am to get a handwritten note or card in the mail from my mother or even my mother-in-law. So as people are stuck at home still somewhat and experiencing that screen fatigue, wanting to disconnect, print has never been more powerful. And let me just say that again, print has never been more powerful. And consumers have been telling us this for some time now. 73% of people say that they agree that paper has never been more important. So within the realm of print, digital is the obvious solution because it offers endless possibilities for your short-run print projects. It's versatile. It allows designers to take more risks. You can swap out papers and inks throughout the process. It's an affordable way to reach audiences because there are minimal setup costs. It's fast, it's flexible. You can make modifications and continue to proof throughout the process. And it's personalized. So with variable data printing, you can actually write or print the name of the person you're targeting directly on the piece itself. So as you're reaching out to those customers, they are focused on sustainability. People might be buying less now, but they want to buy better quality and more sustainable products. They want to buy using their conscience, and they want to support brands that share their personal values and their sustainable lifestyle aspirations. Over 50% of shoppers say that they care whether a company is environmentally friendly or true to their social values. So in this piece, what we did is we took all three of these macro trends. So the power of print, especially now in this market environment, paired with digital as that versatile solution for printing, and then this renewed focus on sustainability. So we took all three of those things and we just combined them and put them into Explore 7. So I know that some of you on the call have the piece and some of you do not. So we'd love to get this piece in your hands. Please reach out to your local Millcraft rep and they can definitely get you a sample. So when you do receive it, you'll see that inside all of the pieces are about sustainable retail, emphasizing supporting local and designing with a purpose. And just like all of our past Explore promotions, they have all kinds of cool print techniques inside, like holographic foils and handwritten elements, the new HP Indigo Silver ink, and a authentic looking brass rivet, which I'll show in a little bit. So let's start with the cover. So one cool detail on the cover, I'm just gonna hold this up so you guys can see, is we use this new HP Indigo Silver ink. And this new ink is such a game changer because in the past, when you were creating a digital piece, if you wanted to add a metallic layer, you would have to take that piece off of the digital press, bring it over to an offset press and add that metallic element at a different time. So it would add cost and time and complexity to your job. What's cool with this new ink is you can add it directly in when you're printing on the HP Indigo. And I promise you, when you see the piece, you will not be able to tell the difference between this new HP Silver ink and like a PMS 877 metallic silver. It's really, really cool. So we used it on the front, you can see in the photo here, and then we also used it on the carrier. So we paired our bare white tech weave with this Neenah folding board black, and we used the silver ink here. So you'll see it in two places. And that's what I love about this cover, is just the pairing of the different papers, the tech weave, the Neenah folding board, and then you'll see in the photo here that the small circles are star green gold. So it's really interesting to just use lots of different papers to create a stunning combination like this one. Our printer, Scott Fay at Fay Printing, our longtime print partner, was really astounded at how well this ink performed. And he just said that it really makes you rethink everything you know or thought you knew about digital. Okay, so inside the piece, we have several cool samples. And before I dive into each individual sample, I just want to set the tone for how we branded them. So several of them are branded under the label Cook's Greenhouse. So this is a sustainable kitchenware and provisions retailer. So and think about your local neighborhood store, and they carry everything that's local and curated and artisan. So you'd find like local breads and wines and bottles of olives, jams, jellies, everything that's produced locally. So this is what Cook's Greenhouse is kind of all about. And now more than ever is the time to support our local businesses, as we all know. Okay, so one of the products that you might find when you're walking the aisles of Cook's Greenhouse is the Blue Sea straw box. So we all know that there's a move away from plastic straws to metal straws. This all started back in New York City, I think a year or so ago, maybe a couple years. So this would be a box that would house those metal straws. So what's cool about this package is that we used a creative mix of paper. So we paired our Environment Desert Storm with an ESSA pearlized belly band. And the combination of papers is really like a meeting of sand and sea. So it's a striking combination, something that you don't typically see. You'll also notice on the blue belly band that we used a holographic foil. I'll have a close-up of that in a minute. So lots of really unique elements and an interesting pairing of papers. So Scott at Fay, our longtime printer, really loved how we were taking a risk by pairing these papers together, papers that you wouldn't think would go together. So as designers, I just challenge all of you guys to, you know, take a risk and maybe mix and match and see what works together to create a really unique, memorable design. We thought that the pairing really paid off. And then I wanted to show you a close-up here of the holographic foil. Our production manager, Carrie, felt that it really had movement, almost like the sea, and a shimmery look that caught the eye. So, you know, holographic foils are cool. They're not, you know, the 80s are back. So if you guys want to bring in a holographic foil, that can really add an interesting shimmer and sheen to your design or product or package. Okay, so a few more products that you might find in Cook's Greenhouse are a jar of olives, or maybe some bakery tags for some curated kind of artisanal bread. So let's start with the olive label. So this is for Juniper Farms. And what's interesting about this label is it's very textured. It's on our estate label in laid finish. It's very creamy, has a great tactility. And then the two bakery hang tags. So, you know, when you go to like a Whole Foods or kind of a more premium grocery store and you get your bread and it's wrapped in that butcher paper, imagine it kind of tied up with a string with this special bakery hang tag. So these are on our Environment and Royal Sundance papers, and we've added that kind of estate label as just a unique touch. So these are some interesting little details that you might find when you're walking the aisles of Cook's Greenhouse. And then we've enclosed them in a beautiful Star Dream envelope. So we did that to keep them together, obviously. And then we also want to encourage you designers and also our small businesses to think about, you know, when you're designing for stationery and direct mail and coupons, think about those envelopes and how they can add that finishing touch and just kind of finish everything off and leave an impression with that user. So here's a close-up of our beautiful bakery hang tag. Our designer, Ellie, who designed it, incorporated some terrazzo tile into the design. This is a very kind of on-trend pattern. I know you guys have probably seen it out and about. So we loved incorporating that. Thought it was just a nice subtle element there. And then for the olive bottle, you can really see how the unique die cut shape really adds to the packaging here. So, you know, as you're designing for products or wine or beer, you know, you don't always have to use a square or a rectangular label. Like, think about the shape of the label that you're creating to make something unique. Okay, and then another piece inside is our Wild Petals Florist card. So, imagine receiving that beautiful bouquet of flowers. And, they typically have that like little plastic or that little metal little fork that holds the card. This would be the card that would come inside. And we chose here our Astrobrite Solar Yellow because we thought that was the perfect choice for a florist that literally wanted to stand out in an already colorful market. It's cheerful, it's bright, it would inevitably pop, and it would elicit those emotions in the recipient and make them want to hold on to it and keep it. And then when you open up the envelope, inside is a digitally printed handwritten card. And I put handwritten card in quotes because this is really just a digital typeface to kind of mimic what a handwritten card would look like, which would be the perfect solution, digital solution for a small business like this. So I personally love the combination of the uncoated Astrobrite Solar Yellow with the pearlized ESSA. It's just such a unique combination and makes for a really premium package. So our printer here, again, just loved the personalized script here. You can see it a little closer here. And so this is just a great example of how even digital printing can make something feel very personalized and hand-done. And then finally, the last piece, which is my favorite piece, is our ink and thread brochure and hang tag. So this is a sustainable denim retailer that encouraged their customers to bring in their old jeans and exchange them for new. So in branding this company, we really wanted to stay true to the brand and incorporate papers that really felt like fabrics. So we brought in our cotton and our linen and our tech weave to really emphasize kind of that denim kind of branded feel. And then the piece itself is very interactive. It layers unique papers and textures. There's a cotton hang tag on the front with a copper rivet. There are short sheets inside with hidden messages, and there's a little coupon in the back. So there's a lot going on in this simple little saddle stitched brochure. And we've mixed and matched a lot of papers there. So when you see it and hold it, you can see how you can elevate even a little simple digital brochure like this one.
Dallas, we had a question from Marlene. She wanted to know what the typeface was that you used on that.
For ink and thread, or which one?
For ink and thread.
It looks like Neutra, but I will confirm and get back to you. Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, our designer just had so much fun, especially playing with the fabric-like textures, because when you think of paper, you might think of a smooth sheet, but we have so many finishes out there that feel like fabric. So that was really fun for our designer, Ellie, to play around with all of those. And then just an interesting detail during the process, early on, we had spec'd a smooth sheet for the hang tag, but we decided to ultimately switch it over to a cotton sheet. And you can almost see the texture in the image of the cottons. And so imagine feeling a beautiful cotton sheet with that cool copper rivet at the top. It really just adds to the whole feel of this denim brand. And Ellie, our designer, also just loved this copper rivet. So you can see in this photo over here, the actual metal rivets on the jeans and how that copper rivet looks almost exactly like it. And we produced that by using just a simple copper foil and an embossing. So little subtle details really make a big difference. So also want to point out that in the back of the Explore piece, we always have our production notes. So this is where you'll go to reference the inks we use, like that metallic silver ink, the print techniques, the papers. So this is kind of your handy dandy reference guide at the end. And then for those of you who want to maybe use some of the papers that you see inside, you can find those in our Neenah digital stock guide, which is the one on the left, or in our traditional swatch book. So if you don't have these or you need these, your local Millcraft rep can certainly help you get your hands on these. And then I just had a few quick tips for you designers around, yes, Terry, did you? Okay. I just had a few quick tips around die lines. So Inside the Explore piece, like the olive label or the straw box, all of those die lines are available for free on our website. And you can download those as an EPS file or a PDF file. You'll also see that you can, there are so many other die lines as well from previous projects. So explore, have fun, download what you need, and start designing away. And then I also want to encourage you all to ask your printer to draw up die lines for you if you need help. Many printers have libraries of die lines available. So if you're looking to do a simple box at X size, reach out to your local printer and they can help you. They can maybe take an existing die line that they have in their library and adjust it to the size that you're looking for. So don't be afraid to leverage those printer contacts that you have to help make your project even better. And then one thing we do at Neenah is we often produce paper dummies, which are just kind of blank mock-ups of the pieces you're working on. And these help so much because they help you to visualize how big the piece is, how it functions, does it lay flat, how does the saddle stitch look? And especially with digital printing, it's so easy to put these paper dummies together. So I encourage you all to ask for those as well. Don't be afraid. And then I also wanted to touch on our new Adobe software extension, which will help you when you're designing for all of your projects. So this is our new Adobe software extension for Illustrator and Photoshop. It's called Neenah Swatch Pro. And the background of this is I run a very small in-house creative team. And we basically designed this software extension for us because in the past we were like finding low-res paper textures on the internet and doing all these things to try to get the paper texture into our design. It was horrible. And so what we came up with was this new tool, and it's free and we'd love to share it with you. So basically what it is it's hundreds of our colors and textures from our most popular brands like Classic and Environment and Royal Sundance. And they're available with the click of a mouse in Illustrator and Photoshop. So you can literally click on your artboard, click the swatch you want, and it drops the paper directly onto your art file with one click. It's just so fast and easy, and it helps you to, visualize paper from the very beginning of your project. It's a game changer and a time saver. And you can easily view all of our colors and textures inside it. And the other cool thing is at the bottom of the screen, you can see the layers palette. It automatically inserts the paper spec directly into the file so that when you drop your art to your printer, they can see the paper that you spec'd. So it just kind of streamlines your design process, and it helps you explore papers and show your clients what the final piece will look like. So I have an example here for you. So these were pieces that you saw earlier in the Explore piece and Explore promo. And this is just screenshots of our Illustrator artboards where you can see how we're using the tool to lay the texture in there. So it's really powerful, and I encourage all of you to go and get it. So this is how you go and get it. It's at neenahpaper.com/swatchpro. And it'll take you to this page on our website. All you do is click the button, download on the Adobe Exchange. There are also video resources here, step-by-step tutorials if you need them. This will click you over to the Adobe Exchange. You click the free button in the top right. It will download automatically. And then all you have to do is restart your Illustrator and your Photoshop program, and then go to Window, Extensions, Neenah Swatch Pro, and it will be there automatically for you. It's a really cool tool. I encourage all of you to test it out. We love it. So now I'm going to turn it over to Eric Hinkle to talk about Millcraft branded items. Eric.
Thanks, Dallas. Great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, so just a quick reminder, we're always doing these. So this is where Michelle really fits into the program. So Customer Marketing Manager. So we've done all these pieces in the past. So you have a real estate piece, you have one targeted at cannabis. Again, you don't really have to focus on the fact that it's targeted at a particular segment. There's always going to be great pieces in there that you can use and speak to. And the solar white piece is really great because it really shows if you just make one step up from an opaque grade and put a full solid coverage on, and then also have some texture to it, the solar white piece. So again, we don't have huge quantities of these, but we definitely have enough quantities for everybody on the call if you need one. And then the power of premium is that great little piece at the bottom that's got the little ring on it. That really speaks to everything that Millcraft stocks. So when Dallas was getting the deck queued up, I mentioned to you $1.3 million of inventory. That is just a huge number when you think about the footprint of Millcraft having, 4 or 5 states and 11 locations. They just have so much inventory on the floor, and that gives you a quick reference guide. Of course, us at Neenah, we always want you to look at our swatch books. But if I'm you guys and you have this tool, this is something that you can go to really quickly and know that Millcraft's going to have it. If they don't have it, they're going to have it within a day or two. So, but yeah, that's
Also,
really it.
I also wanted to mention that Millcraft did use some of our Neenah die lines for their most recent promotion that they came out with a few months ago, and it was on TechWeave as well. So,
did. In fact, if you guys were on the meetup, I don't know, maybe about a month ago, Terry and I did the Discover Digital. So this was totally, thank you, Neenah. This was completely Neenah's die line. It just worked really well for the format and what we were doing. So we said, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. And it definitely helped and believe me, our deadline was very tight. So time was an issue. And, we had a budget we needed to stick to, and I'd rather see, right, Eric's holding up the original. It was that Explore piece. And from that, we got this. And really and truly, I'd rather spend the money on, fun production techniques or beautiful photography or just something other than if it already exists and I love the format and it works, yes. And I guess I'll go back to, this will be it to make it easier for the printers and designers on the call. So this substrate guide we did, so Explore really focuses on digital, but so many of the papers cross over, and that's the beautiful part. So whether you're printing offset, digital, I think, regardless of the technology, you can maintain consistency. So Solar White, for example, totally cross-platform available. This little guide here is everything that we have in stock. We've got a lot of the Neenah items. Like literally I was flipping through it and I'm amazed how much we have on the floor. And Terry, I think, could you show them, you have this is the other reference tool. If you're a designer, you need one of these.
Yes. So this is our writing text and cover grade. So this is going to have a lot of Neenah, other brands like Mohawk and French and CTI. So this has, including the envelopes that we stock. So this is a great tool if you don't have it and you are specifying short run things. This is a great tool to have in your hands. We have plenty of these, so feel free to reach out.
So I gotta say, Dallas, like as you were presenting, I'm flipping through the piece because I have it and I'm looking at details and I'm chatting with my friend Kara offline in the chat box. We worked on a project together and it was a packaging project. And we're both commenting about how good the silver ink looks on the black folding board. And of course I'm in here like, what? How many clicks is that? That was only 2 clicks?
yes,
It's
and
insane.
you know what? I just found out today from Carrie, our production manager, that if you want, so silver ink is the only one that's available right now from HB. But if you want to mimic, let's say, a metallic green or a metallic blue, you can literally run like a green, like, so you run the silver underneath and then you run the green or the blue on top. So it's like you can create, whatever metallic you want. I mean, I would just ask for some digital drawdowns from your printer. I thought that was so cool.
Smart.
All right, Kara, tell Mark to get ready. I'm coming armed with some samples to test. No,
Right.
You guys, and I guess that's the other thing, and I made a note of, as Dallas had mentioned, I cannot tell you how important it is to have an open and honest dialogue with your print reps. They know what works way better. It's what they live in and do. Like that little nugget, like that's transformative. If you can print something digitally that you thought you could only achieve via offset, you know, and it's only going to be through trial and testing, and there'll be some mistakes, but that's why you test first, so that your expectations, so the results meet your expectations. That's really what I love about these Explore pieces, all of them. And honestly, if you have them, hoard them, because they will, people see them and they will want them, especially the ones that are a little bit older. The techniques and just the pieces, I think they're very timeless. And even if something may feel a little dated, like, not that it is, but I'll use rose gold foil as an example. Well, that may feel dated, but the way in which it was utilized, like, oh, I'm thinking of in particular, the Touche promo you did with the line art illustration. It was beautiful, the flowers, and it was in rose gold foil. I may not choose to do rose gold foil, but I was like, whoa, that looks so good in contrast, you know, with that tactile feel of Touche. So that's why I love the print promos. And I think these little kits are perfect because I'm not overwhelmed. I feel like they're digestible to me. And I don't know, I feel like we should do a little follow-up after you guys kind of get this. The piece with the hang tags, I mean, I just think it's the simplest thing you can do and have such a maximum impact. I don't know how many people, they see a hang tag, you know, hanging off of a piece or attached to, you know, maybe it's a belly band, and it could be other stock elements. And this just makes it feel very bespoke and custom. I'm thinking about,
It's all digital.
I mean, the materials at that point are not costly at all. Like, that's not going to matter. So the fact that all these different colors and textures are available and guaranteed digitally, not all of the things Neenah makes. That's why you need to look at the swatch book or get the substrate guide so you can see what's there. But I got to tell you, it's not just white and cream and, you know, neutral palettes. They're vibrant, bright colors, deep, rich blacks and blues and grays. And I'm thinking of some of the pearlescent sheets in Essie and Stardream. I mean, it's amazing what's available digitally. So I know somebody asked in the chat, how often do we update the Discover Digital, the Substrate Guide, and the Writing Text and Cover Guides? This is the dilemma of print, as you all realize. The minute you print it, it's almost, I don't want to say obsolete, but new things are coming out all the time. So I would say, honestly, this is where, and we talk about this all the time, print and digital go hand in hand. Print is the keeper. It's the piece you're going to go back to. It's the thing you're going to reference and remember. When we're talking about the most critical of the up-to-date of the moment info. So maybe a caliber has changed, maybe a new size has been added, maybe a new color or a basis weight. Honestly, our online ordering system on millcraft.com, if you are a printer, you should be on that. It is e-com made simple. Neenah's got all the resources, as Dallas showed us earlier in the app there. And I have to believe, like, we know how much easier it is to update digitally. We will reprint these tools again, but like most companies, you know, we're looking at things and when it makes sense. We're doing there's so much we've added. So I can't give you a definite timeline on that, but I'll tell you, you will be the first to know when we do reprint. We promise we will be letting you guys know when new ones are available. But I think it's a great starting point, and at the very least, call your customer service rep, email us, get online. It's all there. We'll find out the answer for you. There is a swatch book called Rainbow. Ask your printer or ask me. I don't know what Rainbow is, but okay. Oh, that's the 4-color on top of silver.
Right.
These are,
Yeah.
okay. Awesome. Eric, you're right. Get the tools in front of the audience. That is the key. I can't tell you guys how often I hear from not only like end user and clients, designers at agencies, like the minute you can, this is why I think samples are so powerful. Your client may be on the fence, like, I don't have the budget for that. I'm not going to do that. Like, you show them the piece. And even better if you can get some comps on the actual substrates you want to use. The minute they hold that, they'll find the budget. Like, they'll figure it out because you're showing that, like, you're connecting the dots. And let's face it, if your clients are anything like, maybe some, I hope they're not on the call, some internal Millcraft managers, they're not creative visual people. They're not going to connect the dots. But I know if I show them the print sample and example, they're like, well, I want that. I don't want this. No, figure it out. I want this. That's the power of samples. And they're accessible. So that's the one thing, I guess, while we're on the call, and I'll just reiterate. Our design center and sample departments, like, it's full service. We have been up and running this entire time. They are open. So you guys can request anything. Know that I think your first point of contact should be your Millcraft rep, but if you don't know who that is, literally you can go to millcraft.com, click on request a sample at the very top, and order whatever you need. We might ask you a couple questions, but we promise we'll get you what you need in time. Terry, am I missing anything else in the chat?
No, I was just going to add too that another great thing about samples is to set expectations with not only your client, but your printer as well. So if you see a sample and you want a certain technique, there might be more than one way to achieve that technique. So just showing it to your print salesperson and saying, I want to achieve something like this, they might have a different way than Neenah did on this piece, but they'll get you what you need the way that they can. Does that make sense? And then, of course, to show your client what they're going to get as well. So that's all.
Yeah.
I love this piece, by the way. I really like to, this is me and my packaging geekiness, but I like to break into something, right? It's like a present.
It is a present. It totally is. And so if you guys want to gift this to your clients, here's what we're going to do. We don't have many right now, but we're going to follow up in an email. Neenah's been kind enough to arm us with a supply right now. But if you want to do a small group meeting with maybe your clients, your internal team, let us know. You can drop us a note here, email us. We're happy to set up a Zoom call just like this. We can send out the materials ahead of time. We'll get on with Eric and we'll walk you guys through the piece. And I think that once you can see it and then you see exactly what Dallas was talking about and referencing throughout the piece, all of this, I made notes. There's so many different projects. I'm like, oh, I want to do this and I want this and I know where I'm going to use this. That's the part I love about it. And so I think we're all looking for, let's face it, it's just a weird environment. And as businesses are reopening, budgets are going to be driving so much of everything, right? That's where digital is such a great solution. And just like the question was asked here, when are you going to update that? Like for us with the substrate guides, they're pretty thick, so it doesn't make sense to run it digitally. But for smaller businesses opening or reopening and figuring this out, digital is a great option with variable data. So design once, and maybe the hours change, you know, maybe the menu's changing, maybe the product assortment, different things, but it becomes much more accessible and easy to do. And if they're making the effort to print, and I don't care if they're just printing it out on their desktop, if it's like a disposable menu, at that point, again, the paper is not going to be the thing that breaks the budget. Toner would be, not the paper. So why not maintain, you know, that brand consistency and try to keep it as unified as possible. We all know it's a weird time right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to all look and feel, but I think I'm craving some normalcy. I look to the brands I love to sort of feel like, oh, okay, I can go in and it feels the same, you know, like I may be wearing a mask in store, but Target is still Target to me. And, you know, things still feel the same. And I'm not going to lie, I geeked out over the back to school supply aisle yesterday at Target. You know, beautiful products, merchandise beautifully, it's still impactful. And whether we're doing that on screen or in store, there are ways through print that you can deepen that engagement. And that's our job, is to help show them the way that they can deepen the engagement by using print smartly and responsibly and sustainably. So that's all I got.